Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome to my Spook-opoly readathon vlog. If you don't know, Becca from Becca and the Books is hosting a readathon over October called Spookopoly or Spookoplathon, and it is a game of Monopoly but make it bookish and make it spooky because it's October. So there are two ways of playing it. You can either roll all of your rolls back to back in a TBR, which I did not do. I posted an October TBR, but it was literally just a pile of possibilities of books that I'm potentially going to choose from. And then there is the roll as you go. So my intention is to roll as I go and just see how long it takes. As of right now, I don't know if I will do like 5 rolls plus doubles, as that's how many I would expect to have done in a TBR, or if I just roll until the end of the month. You will see when you see this video how I choose to do it. That is the plan that I'm going to play this game over the course of this month, and it will help me pick my TBR. So I have forgotten to print off the board right now. I will get the board later in a few days when I have time to get to a printer. I go to the library to print the board. So I will just roll for now and move a counter on electronically. Editing Abby will have fun with that, and then we will get the board for the next roll. So right, we have got an 8, so 8 takes us to green, I think it was on the board, which means a book with a green or mostly green cover. So I have a few green books, thankfully this didn't land on orange, because although I'm wearing orange, I don't have that many orange books. I was really worried about, there were certain squares which I did not want it to land on, and I was like, it better not be orange. Like green, purple books, I have a few, but orange, pretty limited. So I have a few green books, and I have a few that are on my like pile of possibilities. So the two that are like vying for contention are One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig and then The Poison Song by Jane Williams. Both relatively green. I feel like this one's slightly more green, but green enough. And I'm a bit conflicted because I really want to read this one because I think it's going to be really fun. I think I'll be able to fly through it. It feels October-y. But then also I've been planning to read this one since like the beginning of September. And I did start it and then I put it down and decided to read Labyrinth's Heart instead as my like finale for the month. And then I was planning to read this all of like last week, so the final week in September, and it didn't happen because I was juggling too many other books. So now I'm like, I should definitely read this one. I should read this one. But then this one feels like it's calling to me a bit. But then I also want to read this one like around Halloween and like read this one and the X together. Oh, there's just so many dilemmas. I think it will be The Poison Song. Logically. This feels like the logical choice is to read The Poison Song, which is the third and final book in the Ninth Reign series. So finishing off a series, which is something I've been endeavouring and trying to do all year. I feel all year I've been trying to finish my series and not been doing an amazing job at it, but I've been getting better. I think we'll go for this one. I have already started it. I'm like 34 pages in of a like 550 page book, and I have really enjoyed the series. It's been like a 4-star series for me, so I have my expectations for this will probably be like 4 stars, the same as like the other books in the series, but we shall see how we get on. It's very genre blendy, like it's a fantasy world, but there's sort of some like sci-fi elements, there's some horror elements, also like interesting things that get interwoven together and different laws that are sort of mashed into here. We will go for this one. We will go for The Poison Song, wrap this series up. I will feel accomplished if I read this one. I feel like, yeah, I'll feel proud of myself if I go for this one, whereas I won't feel so accomplished if I read this one. Okay, green book decided. I will check in when I need to do my next roll. So a whole week has gone by and I've completed my first book for the readathon, The Poison Song, which was for green, or landing on green, the green square. So success here. This finishes off a series for me, so it was the third and final book in the 9th reign. I enjoyed this one. I think it's probably like a 4-star. But I liked it. I had a good time with it. I'm really happy with the way that this wrapped up everything. I think it built to a really solid conclusion. I enjoyed the arcs for all our characters. I found like it was a really satisfying ending. There were some bittersweet moments. There was some good resolution. I think there could have been a little bit after the end. Like it would have been nice to have a bit more after the final battle, because the final battle pretty much went right to the end of the book. I enjoyed this one. Would really recommend the series as a whole. So that was my first book for October, tick, and I feel nice and accomplished because I finished a series as like the beginning of the month, you know, starting the month strong with a series finale and quite a chunky book as well. That it's 560 odd pages, so a good one to start the month with. And I've had my first week of my new job, which as well, I didn't know how much I'd be able to get read this week because of it being like the start of a new job and stuff, all that like new job stress, but I actually did manage to get this one read. So now on to roll number 2, the second one. Roll number 2. Oh, there's a 6. 11. Let's see where that gets me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What is that? I'm gonna have to turn this around. Daphne du Maurier. That's like gothic. I'm gonna have to check the thing, but I think that's gothic stuff. So we have landed on, we're at Daphne du Maurier, which from a quick check of the rules, that is like a dark gothic style book. So I have a book for this, I do. I'm not going to second guess myself and start pulling out other books. No second guessing. We are going to go for One Dark Window, which is a gothic fantasy romance. I've been excited to read this one. It is the start of a new series, so you know, finish one, start another one, but this one is only a duology. I have really good feelings about this one. I sense that I'm going to really enjoy it. I've been craving a bit of romance. I think that I want something that's fun and bingeable, that I can fly through, that it's angsty and I'm rooting for them. In this, we're following a main character called Elspeth, who has this nightmare in her head that sometimes like takes over her, and then one day she meets a mysterious highwayman, and I think that there is some romance that's going to happen there. That there's an interesting magic system in this, and the sequel comes out later on this month in October, so I could read the sequel maybe this month, next month. But this, I think, definitely fits with the gothic vibes. I mean, based on the cover, it gives me the gothic vibes. And from what people have said, that this is quite darker gothic. Lush gothic fantasy debut. It says it on the back. So I'm going to go for this one. I feel as though going into this role, I was like pretty happy to go for anything that I really had on my pile of possibilities. I was like, if I get like Skyward, I could read that, you know, like I could have read a sci-fi, I could have read, I don't know, a whole range of things. So I'm pretty happy to be going into One Dark Window and made a really good dent of moving around the board. I think I shall just get into this later on today. Hello, good evening. So I wasn't planning to film now, but I came to this realization that I need to roll and get my next book. So I still have like 150 pages left of One Dark Window. All fine, good, all fine and dandy. So things are ticking along there. I have some mixed feelings on it. Some moments I'm really enjoying, some I'm a bit like, this is so, I don't know, not realistic. I mean, it's obviously not going to be realistic. It's a fantasy, but sometimes I'm enjoying the plot, sometimes I'm not so enjoying the plot. So mixed emotions there. Anyway, ticking along. I will update when I finish the book and give like more full thoughts once I have wrapped that all up. But I have 150 pages left and I go away for the weekend tomorrow. So this evening, well, I'm going Thursday to Saturday, and me and my partner are going to Dublin for his 30th birthday. So I need to roll so that I can have a book whilst I'm there, because I'm sure I will finish the first 150 pages, some of it tonight and some of it probably on the way to Dublin. So then I might need something when I'm in Dublin. I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done. I might be completely overthinking this. Maybe the 150 pages will be enough, but it's best to be prepared. I do not want to get to Dublin and then find out that I don't have a book. So let's roll. Roll number 3 is a 5. So where are we going? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. that takes us to Broken Mirrors. Okay, so we've landed on Broken Mirrors. So a book that has mirror in the title or on the cover, or like shattered glass, or a reflected cover. I've been having a look and I've been going through my shelves. I've been like pulling the books off the shelves. The hunt for a book that fits this prompt to try and find a good book for this. I don't really own any books with mirror in the title. I mean, I must have owned, I own some that I've read, like Mask of Mirrors, but I've read that one and I'm not rereading it right now. So I don't have any of those. I don't think I have anything with mirror on the cover. I have a book with shattered glass, but I can't read it because it's a sequel. So Blood Sanctuary Part 2 has all the shattered glass in it, but I haven't read Part 1 yet, so that's a no-go. So I think I'm limited to reflected covers, and I do have quite a few of those. I don't know if that's like a common thing, but I have a lot of reflected covers. Well, when I say a lot, I found a few. Like, I was like, oh, that's reflected. Oh, that's reflected. Like Incendiary, nice and reflected. Not going to pick it though. There's a book. It's not fully reflected, but this is like sort of reflected, I feel, which is an option, but not going to be it, I don't think. Then there's the book that I should pick, and then the book that I'm actually going to pick. So it's a reflected cover. I was like, when it came up, I was like, I know a reflected cover. This one, but I don't want to take this one away with me because it's like, it's big and heavy. I'm only taking hand luggage. Like, I'm not going to take this with me. I'm not. Like, I should read this one, and maybe if I was staying at home, I would read this one. But no, this isn't a travelling book. This is a staying at home book, and nah, not happening. Not right now. One day, soon, maybe later this month, but not right now. So we have a surprise entry here, not on the TBR, not in the plans. But it is one that I've been wanting to read, and I have put this on a 5-star prediction. Maybe this was like last year's 5-star predictions, and that's Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. Reflected cover. This is the Fairy Loot Special Edition one, because I didn't like the normal cover. And I have really loved An Enchantment of Ravens and Sorcery of Thorns. Like, I loved those books. So because I loved them so much, I hope I'm going to love this one. I know that it's different. It's going to have different vibes. I think we're following like a warrior nun. I don't think this has like the plot on it at all because it doesn't have a blurb. But I think it's got like this necromancy nuns. I know there's no romance in this, so I'm prepared for that. I'm excited. I believed originally that this was like planned as a part of a series, but I was just Googling and she has said that this all wraps up all by itself and she has no plans to continue writing in this world anymore because of her mental health when she wrote this, and that she's now working on other things, and that this does wrap fully up even though she originally had plans to write more in this world. So I will go for this one. My only hesitancy is that I'm going to have to make sure this book is nicely wrapped up in a bag and safe because I don't want to get like travelling mucky hands on it. So yeah, this is what I'm going to go for my mirror prompt. A bit surprised, but I think it fits October. I feel like it fits the October gothic vibe, and I'm working with that. I roll with that. So that is my plans. So there we go. I will keep reading One Dark Window. Then I will start Vespertine and maybe show you a little bit of Dublin. I've never been. I'm really excited. Never been to Ireland, which I think is, it's not shameful, but like it is so close. Like it is so close to the UK. The flight is going to be like 45 minutes, and I've never been to Ireland, but tomorrow I will correct that. So I'm going to get to packing and everything else, and I will check in a bit.
Hello, good evening. So it is now Sunday evening, Sunday the 15th of October, so midway through the month now, and I haven't done loads of reading. I've not been the most productive, but we are slowly making our way through some books. So I finished my second book, which was One Dark Window, whilst in Dublin, and as you can see, I am now home, and I feel pretty lukewarm on this. I really wanted to love it. I had so much like desire to love this book, and it didn't quite follow through on that. It fell short. It fell short in many ways. Like I think the gothic atmospheric vibe is there. Like it had a vibe. I enjoyed the vibe, but it felt lazy, I would say. Like everything about this book felt lazy. That the world building, oh yes, creepy forest with a creepy mist in a medieval village. Cool, great atmosphere. The atmosphere, that was built quite well. Characters, I'd say like our female character has a personality, but everybody else are all sort of cookie cutter characters without really much personality to them. The romance, bland. I was like wanting more from it. I was like, why do two people like each other? Like, I don't know. I don't get it, because I haven't like shown why you might have attraction to one another. And just like the coincidences of how this whole like plot all came to be, I was like, how what? No. In this world there are these providence cards, which is how like magic happens, that each card gives its wielder a different power of a kind. Our main character, because she has this monster in her head, is able to sense these providence cards, and that's the only like legal way to have magic. But if you become ill or have this fever when you are young, you have your own magic, and it's sort of seen as an abomination. It's not healthy, and that's what our main character has. She ends up starting to work with our main character Raven, and the way that they like meet and interact and start like working together, I was like, this is so coincidental. This is so like set up for this whole plot to happen. Like there was a moment where she hasn't told anybody ever that she has magic, and as soon as she meets him, she's like, oh, can we not go that way and see all the people with the pink providence cards? And I'm like, so you've just gone and told him straight away, like just like that? And he's like, oh, how do you know there's loads of pink providence cards there? And she's like, I'm like, you've kept this secret from everybody your whole life, and that's how you just reveal it straight like that in your first conversation with this guy, pretty much. It just all seems very, very unrealistic. Like the whole plot, it was just full of coincidence after coincidence after coincidence. The only thing that brought it up was the atmosphere, the gothic vibe. Like that was enjoyable. Like atmosphere was done really well here, but everything else felt lazy and didn't quite work. And I'm sad about it, because I really wanted this to work. I really, really wanted it to work. I feel like it's got the bones. It needed more. Like it didn't have the muscle and the skin and everything else to go along with it. I feel like I would read from Rachel Gillig again. Like I'll give her another try. I just feel like this was her debut, and it really read like a debut. Like I think it needed more polishing. It needed more to be put together. And as it is right now, it didn't deliver. It didn't deliver, unfortunately. And I'm sad about it, because as I said, I really wanted to like it. So anyway, I did finish this one. There we go. And I started Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I am most of the way through this now. Ignore the ribbon bookmark. I am here. So I have like 60 pages left, odd, so nearly finished with this one. And I've been enjoying this one. I think I'm glad I went in with the expectation that there is no romance in this, because there is romance, or quite a strong romantic plot lines in her first two books, and I think she generally does romance well. So I feel as though in some ways I wish it did have romance, but I'm glad I had that expectation. But so far so good, and I will give you my full thoughts once I've finished it. But for right now, I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's my favourite Margaret Rogerson. Like I think I gave the other two 5 stars, and this will probably be a 4-star.
Editing Abby just nipping in here to say I don't think my thoughts really changed that much from the ending of Vespertine. That it probably did end up at like 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as her previous 2 books, but I did still enjoy it. I liked the ending. I don't feel like the book has stuck with me that much. that it hasn't been the most memorable, I would say. That I think it was fun whilst I was reading it. It was a fun time, but it hasn't stuck. It hasn't stuck so much. So it's 4 stars. Yeah, it probably is 4 stars. Like, it was fun. I had a good time with it. I liked our main character. I liked the world. I liked the magic system. I think that was interesting. I feel like it is a little bit of a shame that we're not going to have a continuation in this story or in this world or with different characters, because I think that was a plan, that it was going to be companions. But I do appreciate that the author has said that the book was quite traumatic for her to write, and so she can't revisit it, at least for right now. So those would be my rest of my thoughts on Vespertine, and I would recommend it, although I think my favourite of her books is still Sorcery of Thorns, then Enchantment and Ravens, and then probably Vespertine, because I did miss the romance. I do think she does romance really well, and I missed having that element in the book, even though I knew it wasn't going to be there. Back to the next roll.
Which means it is now time for my 4th roll that I will slowly start making my way through some books. So let's get into that. Okay, so we ended on the Broken Mirror, and now on to roll number 4. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pumpkin spice. What does that mean? So we have landed on pumpkin spice, and looking up what that means, it says a spicy book, a book that you're excited about, might be an anticipated release or contain a favourite trope, or, a spicy book. Okay, I'm a bit not sad, because that's not the right word. Like, I just wish this came up towards the end of the month when A Curse for True Love had come out, or like I had A Curse for True Love, because that's the book I'm really anticipating reading, and I wish I had that book available for this prompt, but I don't. I'm looking at like the books that I want to read this month, and like what could fit. So like, obviously I could go down like the spicy route. I have Blood Sanctuary. I do have other spicy books as well, which are starts of series that I could read, but I don't know. I don't feel like I'm quite feeling this right now. I don't think. I feel like I don't think I'm in the mood for this right now, and I'm not intending to start a fantasy romance series until I've like made progress in the ones I'm already reading, because I've got a couple on the go, so I want to like clear them out before I start more. And then like I have my new releases, not new releases. I do have new releases. I have like Upon a Frosted Start, but I was saving this for like November, December time when it felt more wintry. I mean, it's got suddenly very, very cold here. It was so cold in Dublin. I was like, how have we gone from like 25 degrees to like 5 degrees in a week? Because that's literally what the weather has done here. It has got so cold so quickly. So in some ways we are maybe approaching this vibe, but I'm not there yet. I haven't done all my like witchy reads. So this one, although it's got cold, I don't feel like I'm quite here. And then I guess I could anticipate it. I guess I could do like one of the series that I really want to start, like, Dreamer's Pool or Fireball or something. But then I don't know. But then also, this is my newest purchase. I've got the Blood Traitor by Lynette Noni, and I am really excited to finish off my series. I'm feeling like so accomplished at the moment with getting my series number down and getting my series in a good place by the end of the year. So part of me is thinking I should pick this up. Like, it's not the book that I'm like most excited to read in terms of I can't wait to pick this up. This book is going to be 5-star. I am so excited about it. I don't feel like I get that vibe from this, but I'm excited in that I can wrap up another series. It's a series that's very bingeable, and so I think I might be going for this one. I think I might go for this one and sort of interpret it in that way. I'm anticipating it as it is my latest purchase, and it does tick off another series, which I'm working on. I'm really working on them. So yeah, and I really want the book that I'm reading this week to be a paperback, as just like a small caveat that I really want my book to be a paperback, because I have a lot on with work this week, and I have got a trade show at Excel on both Tuesday and Wednesday. So I will be travelling to Excel on both days, and I am not anticipating that being a fun journey. I anticipate it being quite long. I anticipate it being quite stuffy with people. I'm going to be taking a paperback with me and not a hardback. So this is ideal because it fits. The paperback is light and won't be taking up too much space in my bag for that journey. and then maybe I can find a hardback for the end of the week, because I do really want to continue in the Skyward series soon. So hopefully I can read this, then that, maybe. Well, I've got to see what the prompt gives me. So this is my pick, The Blood Traitor. There we go. I will check in when I finish Vespertine and maybe have something to say on this one. Hello, I have been ill. So that is my update, that I have not been very well the past few days, but I am in recovery and I am coming up to finishing my book. So I'm going to skip over my thoughts. We're going to do that all when I am better, because I'm not there yet. But I do need a new book, so that means I need a new role, because I currently am just really approaching the end of The Blood Traitor, which was my 4th pick. Back to editing, Abby. I really made this a challenge for myself in editing by I just did everything that could make this vlog a challenge. So my thoughts on The Blood Traitor. I enjoyed this one. I think it was better than book 2. I'd say 1 and 3 are probably equal, with book 2 being slightly lower down in terms of my enjoyment. I think it covered some good topics. I think the plot was there. I think there were some definitely darker themes in this one, with struggles on drug use and loss and your self-worth. So there were definitely some heavy themes that it touched upon. I liked our main character's progression and where this journey went to, and seeing our characters come together as like a band as they tried to they had like a quest type thing to complete in this one. I think that's vague enough. So I did enjoy that. I don't know if the quest and travelling is quite my favourite plot, but I did enjoy seeing our characters all come together. I enjoyed like the build and the ending. There was a few nice twists and turns throughout it, and I like where it got to. I liked where this ended. In the main, there are a few little gripes, but nothing major. So it was an enjoyable one. I think it's an enjoyable series. I think it's a fun series. I don't think it's going to be like a favourite series. It's not going to stick with me forever. But I feel like this was a fun YA series. I don't think it does anything super original, but if you enjoy YA, I do think it's a good one. I do think it's fun, engaging, well written, apart from like how some of the elements of book 2 which drag a little bit, but in the main I think it's a good one. And I do like the romance. I think the romance is done well in it, and it's just a fun one. It's a fun world with a relatively fun plot and quite nice and endearing characters, I would say. So there we go. And now I think this is the end for editing Abby. She doesn't need to come back anymore. So let's roll. Okay, roll number 5. 11. Where does that get us to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Go. Randomise your TBR. Okay. I have landed on random number generator, which not quite what I was after, because I would have much preferred something where I could just pick a book and have my own choice. But I am randomising it, so what I'm going to do is just put 1 to 70, which I think is roughly the amount of books out of my TBR, and then I will count to whichever number it goes to on my TBR, and that is the way we're going to do this. So it is very random. It's not what I want, but this is what the game says we're doing, and you never know, maybe I will get an amazing book. Okay, let's do 1 to 70 and see what this gives me. 39. Let's go have a look at that. Okay, so 39 has landed on a book that was not in my plans. It was actually on my books to read, no, my self-destructing TBR. Not at all in my plans, and probably not quite what I would have hoped, because I've read a reasonable amount of YA this month, and I feel as though I am ready for some more adult books, but it's giving me a YA book. I guess it gets a book off my shelf. This is Invictus by Ryan
Gordon. I'm struggling. And it is a standalone YA sci-fi. I think there's time travelling and there might be the Titanic in this. And I originally planned to read this like years ago. I think this came out quite a while ago. 2017, and I think I probably planned to read it then because I have read her other books, The Walled City, Wolf by Wolf and Blood for Blood, so I read those and I really enjoyed those, so that's why I wanted to read this. It just hasn't happened, but I guess this is probably good. It gets a book off my TBR that I hadn't really been thinking about. It should be relatively quick as it's a large font. It is quite a few pages, like 450 pages, but it's a large font. It's YA, it should be quick, and then at least I'll know if I like it or not and if my tastes have changed, because this has been sitting around for a little while, and at least this has landed on something that's not a massive series. That, although I'm not working on the series, I am reading some of my old books. A random one, a very random one, but there we go. Right, it is the next day. I think I'm sounding like I'm getting slightly better. And I've been reading Invictus. Firstly I finished The Blood Traitor, which I always want to call a book in that series The Rebel Queen. I feel like one of the books should be called that, but it's not. And I just feel like calling it The Rebel Queen series. But I finished that, enjoyed it, sort of like 3.5 stars. It was fun. It was a good end to the series, I think. Happy I read it and happy I finished that series. So those are my sort of quick thoughts on that. But I've been reading Invictus and I think I'm just going to DNF it. Like, it's absolutely fine. I'm 140 pages in. So I've given it like a good chunk, and it's not like I'm bored. It's not like I'm not enjoying it. I just feel like it's very fine and average. I think I would have enjoyed this a lot more if I'd read it back in 2017 when it was released. So 7 years ago now. Like, I think I would have had a good time of it then, but I think my tastes have changed a little bit, that this feels quite cliche in a way. It reminds me quite a bit of like Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, or like the Illuminae files. Like, it reminds me a bit of that really fast-paced, relatively fun sort of like sci-fi tale. Like, this is a time-traveling tale where we're following a main character and it's set in the future in like the year 2200 odd, and following main character and the society there, and he wants to be a time traveller and go through time, and it's them going through time and stealing artifacts from the past that they think are lost and bringing them into the future to then sell for lots of money. And so the premise is fine. It's fine, it's fun. It seems like there's going to be more going on now, probably with where I've got to, but I can't see this being like any more than 3 stars. And I think I would rather just spend my time reading something that I'm really invested in and really thoroughly enjoying, as opposed to reading this, which, although it's fast paced and although it's very quick to read, I don't feel like I'm going to get loads out of it. So I feel like it's better to just stop now and get to the good stuff. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to roll again and see where I end up next, and this will just come off the TBR, which is a good thing as well, that it's been sat there for a very, very long time, a good few years, and so it's good to have tried it and got it off the TBR now. Okay, so we ended on go, so let's right at the beginning again, so let's see what our 6th roll is. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chance. Okay, let's see what this is going to give me. So this is books from my TBR that I filmed, and then also the chance bit is that there are some random ones in here that I want to read but have not been put on my original TBR. Okay, a random one, A Fate of Wrath and Flame. Okay, not again, a book not planned for this month, but we move. So A Fate of Wrath and Flame, I've just gone to collect it. I guess we're starting with this fantasy romance series. I guess I did DNF like for the From Blood and Ash series. This one can come into the mix. This has now been picked up by Del Rey, I think it is. So it's now, this was self-pub, now it's traditionally published. It's a fantasy romance. I think we have 2 worlds colliding, or like characters from New York that get swept into this fantasy world, and her twin or someone that looks just like her has just murdered the king and queen of that world or something like that. I will tell you more once I have actually started reading it, but looks like
we're reading this, and I'm actually really excited about reading this book. I just hadn't planned on doing it right now because it's the start of a series, and that wasn't really what I was aiming to do before the end of the year because I was trying to finish things, but I have been very good at finishing things, so I guess this is my like reward for doing all of that finishing. So A Fate of Wrath and Flame, let's go. Also, in a bizarre twist of events, I want to thank Sharon, who gifted me both of these books. That in a weird way, I am getting to both books that Sharon gifted to me a little bit late because I've had these for quite a while. But Sharon, thank you for gifting me these books back in like 2021 maybe. This I originally was going to read for a video, and that video never happened. Or I think I read the first two books and I might have DNF'd. Or I DNF'd one, hated the other. So it was probably a good thing that video never happened. And then this one was a gift for my birthday, I think that year as well. So I've had this one for a while and been looking forward to it. But thank you, Sharon, for both of these. And I don't think she's really posted in a while, but I will link Sharon's Instagram and channel down below. Hello. So I have made it through another week. I have been ill again this week. It has really not been my month here in October. It's one illness, it seems, after another. This one has not been very fun at all. I've literally just slept for 2 days straight. Not been a good month in the health department, but hopefully that just means that I've got all of the bugs ever now and I'm good for the next like 2 years. Hopefully there are no more bugs that can get me. Like, it's just not allowed. I just can't be dealing with this amount of illness. Relieved that I'm now feeling better. I mean, my mum were talking, we were like, oh, it's quite nice when you're ill and it just means you can like lie in bed and read your book and watch TV. But I was like, no, mum, I'm not at that level of illness. I was like, my level of illness is that I lie in bed and I sleep. There is no reading. There is no watching TV. It is just sleeping. And being ill. Like, if only I could lie in bed and read my book. Like, no, I'm not there. But luckily, I have got there. And I have finished and read A Fate of Wrath and Flame this week. So, a book ticked. So, yes, I have just finished this, literally just this second. I enjoyed this one. It is a fantasy romance story. I don't think I really spoke about it this week because I picked the book up and then I was ill. and now I finished the book. This is the first book in a fantasy romance series. I think there are 4 books. 3 of the books are out and the final book comes out next summer. So I shouldn't have too long to wait between reading each instalment. I enjoyed this one. We're following a main character, Romeria, and she's originally from New York. And at the beginning of the book, she gets transported into this fantasy world. And in this fantasy world, the body that she gets put into has just murdered the king and queen of that world and is betrothed to the prince. And so she is like, what is going on here? What do you mean I've just killed all these people? Like, what do you mean I did this? I didn't do any of this. I've just been transported into this body. I don't understand what's going on. And so it's quite an interesting setup where she's coming in with her like modern sensibilities or like modern mannerisms and going into this fantasy world and trying to acclimatize to being in that fantasy world. And it's a very sort of traditional fantasy world. And I enjoyed our main character. I enjoyed our romantic pairing. I enjoyed the tension that we had between them. I enjoyed the like fantasy world, the politics that we get. I like the twists and turns and the way that we find out about different parts of all the different information that we get given and how that's sort of fed to us slowly in the same way that the character is finding out things about the world. I do have quite a few like questions about the world and the lore. I think it's a little bit potentially convoluted, but we shall see. It seems intriguing for right now. I think this is probably like a 4-star book for me. I enjoyed it. There were moments where I was exceptionally hooked. Like I would say the first 150 pages, I was really, really hooked in that beginning section as we got introduced into this world and these characters. And then it petered out a little bit in the middle where I guess we're sort of living in that world. It's sort of like a middle, I think it made sense, like getting to know the characters, getting to know the world, but it was slower. And so I don't think as like hooked. I wasn't as like racing through the pages. And then I think the ending was quite good. Yeah, it was a solid like start to a fantasy series. Definitely intrigued to keep going and seeing where the rest of this goes. So I need to get myself book 2 of this. And at least I've had this book for a little while on my TBR. So I feel as well that I've ticked something off that wasn't in the plans, but
became the plans because of Spookopoly. So it is currently the 28th. So I'm wondering how much more I can read. I think I'm going to do a final roll. I'm assuming it's going to be my final roll. I'm really hoping to get one of the Skyward novellas on. So I really hope it fits that prompt, that I can fit a Skyward novella on. I have also ordered A Curse for True Love, which is the final book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So I have ordered that, and it arrives tomorrow. So that would potentially be something that I would pick up. But I need a book for tonight. I need something for right now, which is why I really hope that a Skyward novella would fit on here. But we shall see what it gives me, and I shall see what I can fit on for my final book of the month. Okay, so we ended on chance, and hopefully for our final roll, let's see what we get. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mood read! Ah, perfect. What a perfect way to end the game, with a mood read. And I know what I want to read. Because I haven't been able to get it on any of the rolls yet this month, and that is Skyward Flight by Brandon Sanderson. So this is what I need to read to continue in the Skyward series. So I think I will just be reading Sunreach, which is the first one, which I think is probably about a third of this book. What does that take me to? That takes me to page 160, which I should be able to do by the end of the month. And then we'll see what I do about Redawn, or if I go to A Curse for True Love or whatever. But in theory, I think this will be my final roll. This works out. I get what I want. I get what I want, which is continuing the Skyward series, which I've been planning to do all month. Hours to put together, seconds to take apart. Hello, Editing Abby here to wrap up this vlog. So I did finish the first Skyward novella. I did finish Sunreach in October. I then also read and finished A Curse for True Love. I decided not to risk anything, that I was just going to read it. So Sunreach is the first of the Skyward novellas. I enjoyed it. It's quite cute. There's lots of slugs in this one. So it was quite fun. It was interesting seeing like some of the characters that we hadn't seen since book 1 and what they get up to during the course of like book 2 and like the ends of book 2. So I did quite enjoy that. I don't think it was as good as like the original books in the series, or books 1 and 2. I didn't have the same like compulsive need to read it, although I did read it very quickly. Like I read most of it that night that I picked it up, and then the next morning. So I'd say, yeah, it was a successful read. Read it very quickly, and I have since read the second one as well in November. So success there with this one, and I was quite happy for that being my final roll. I probably could have rolled again in the hopes of getting A Curse for True Love, but I was just going to read it. So I did read A Curse for True Love at the end of October. I did finish it in October on like the 31st. So that was a success. I don't quite know how I managed to read that whole book in like 3 days whilst working and everything else, but I did. It was so compulsively readable. I have quite mixed feelings on it, I'd say. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Like I really wanted it to be like the best book in the series, and I don't think it was. I felt like it was missing so many, it was missing elements. It was missing elements I really wanted. There were characters that seemed to have just disappeared. I was like, you were in books 1 and 2, but where are you in book 3? And I feel like that would have been even more obvious to me if I had read them, like binged them through. I was suddenly like, at the end of the book, I was like, where is this character gone? Like this character has just vanished. And it felt like there was lots of loose ends as well. So it feels as though she's going to continue in the world in that series, but I don't know if she is. Nothing's been announced. But I feel like there were so many open things that it would have been nice to have closed a few more bits off. And also I think it's an absolute crime that the satisfying ending and epilogue is in the Barnes & Noble special edition. So someone had posted those pages on Twitter, so I read them on there, and they actually gave the book a satisfying ending, because without them the ending is not that satisfying, and I feel like that is a crime to put a satisfying ending in a special edition. Like fair enough, you can put a bonus chapter in a special edition, a bonus chapter that doesn't mean anything, but when your bonus chapter is a satisfying ending, then you know you're doing something wrong. That doesn't make sense to me. So that was my end of my month, and that was the end of October, and we're leaving October in the past, and all the illnesses and everything that happened in October, we're leaving it in the past. So I had quite a lot of fun this month doing Spookopoly. I think I probably would have liked to have read more. There were more books that I would have liked to have read, but it just didn't happen. Body said no. Body said you were going to be ill. Sorry for the delay as well in getting this up. I think because of illnesses, I haven't really had, I've been struggling with filming, struggling with editing, and outside of work. I was back at my parents' as well the first weekend in November, so that like disrupted things as well a little bit. So I just haven't had like the schedule that I would have liked to have had. Even today, even this weekend, things have been disrupted because of this. So everything just hasn't quite been going to plan in the way that I would have wanted things to be going to plan. But thank you so much, Becca, for organising Spookopoly. I had a lot of fun with it. I think the prompts were really fun to try and fit my books into them, and it is quite fun like rolling and seeing what you're going to get and having that spontaneity with the reading. That I definitely read some things that I wasn't planning on reading this month, which I think was which was a good thing. It was for my benefit to be able to like throw some things on that were just out of the plans. I am already looking forward to the next round, and hopefully my health doesn't get in the way in the next round. Let me know if you took part in Spookopoly and if you read any good books in October, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!